I am pronouncing it in right way. How we can
Yes, my name is Thouria. Thouria.
Thouria. Okay.
And the last
So
name of the Ben Farhat
Thouria,
is correct.
thank you for accepting the invitation of my podcast.
It's my pleasure.
So let's start from your introduction and background. Can you introduce you to us and me and my
Uh,
audience?
so my name is Thouria bin Farhat. I was born in Morocco and raised in Algeria. I came to the US to study, and then I worked at the United Nations for 36 years, teaching Arabic to United Nations diplomats and staff members. I'm married and we have three children. They are 28, 36, and 41, and they're all multilingual, alhamdulillah.
Okay, very nice. Uh, can you tell us more about your background and journey in the field of language education from your early days to your retirement in 2017?
Okay, so I majored in English and Arabic at college, and then at Georgetown University here in the US, I have a master's degree in bilingual education and TESOL. While I was teaching at the United Nations, I learned some Russian. I completed 6 levels out of 9, which take you to proficiency. And I also studied Spanish. I had my degree in Spanish from the United Nations Language Program where I was teaching, which means that I can work in Spanish, and I love that. And I also studied some Chinese because I wanted to go on the trip that the United Nations language program in Chinese takes their students after they complete level 2 of Chinese. However, I started my YouTube channel in the middle of level 2, and I was no longer able to do 3 hours of homework a day. So I dropped Chinese and I didn't go on that trip. I kind of regret it, but I think starting my YouTube channel was very important to me at that time. So I stuck with that. I'm
Okay.
interested in learning other languages, so I do spend some time on Clubhouse. Are you familiar with Clubhouse?
Yes.
Yeah, so I do spend some time there in different rooms, polyglot rooms, where they teach different languages or just talk in different languages. I enjoy that a lot. I like getting into languages that are close to languages that I already know. I mean, being Algerian, I was raised speaking Arabic and French. Those are considered my mother tongues by the United Nations. And then knowing
Your
French,
Arabic is your mother tongue? Uh,
Arabic is my mother tongue, yes. But
okay.
since Algeria was a French colony, the United Nations considers French as my mother tongue as well, because especially in my generation, we learned it, from the time we were very
Mm.
little. Started school. When I started school, we did half the day in French and half the day in Arabic. So I was saying that knowing French opens the door to the Romance languages because Spanish and Italian and Portuguese even are very close. So you can make up a lot of the conversation from knowing French. And then,
Mm.
since I know Spanish, it makes it even easier to understand Italian and Portuguese.
Very nice. And you had done your higher education in New York or in which state? You
In Washington, D.C., in
Washington.
the capital. That's where
And now
Georgetown.
you where you are living in USA, like New York or
I live
Washington?
I live in New York State.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And have you ever explore Urdu and Hindi languages because millions and billions of people, I think, speak
Yeah,
and
there.
understand the
Yes.
Hindi and Urdu as well.
Yeah, some of these languages are the most spoken in the world. I really haven't, just because I don't know a lot of people. Not a lot of my friends speak these languages, and it looks so far away. Um, I mean, I took Chinese because I wanted to go on that trip. I guess if they had a trip to India, I would have taken Hindi.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
I think there is more 1 billion peoples in India and
Yes.
220 plus million Pakistanis and Bengalis even also understand Hindis and Urdu because of the movies like and
Yes.
Afghanis also understand these languages.
I'm sure
Okay,
I would have taken that if they offered it at the UN, but the UN language program only teaches the six official languages of the UN,
okay,
and I want to start with those, you know.
okay. Okay, very nice. Next question is: with over 36 years of teaching Arabic at United Nations language program, what were some of the most memorable moments or experience you had during your teaching career?
There were so many memorable moments. It was a wonderful experience where you had people coming from all over the world, and they're all really interesting people, highly educated, very nice people coming to your classroom to learn from you. It was amazing, and I was learning a lot from them as well. I think the highlight is that I was learning from them. I learned so much about different cultures, about different languages. That was really the best part.
Okay, very nice. And the next question is about the multilingual education. And the question is: have you taught Arabic, French, English, Spanish? What insights you can share about the challenges and benefits of multilingual education?
Um, there are a lot of, I think, misconceptions about multilingual education. A lot of people are scared to teach their kids different languages at the same time, and they're afraid the child might get confused. My experience is that with my children, anyway, and friends around me who have multilingual kids, my experience is that that is not true. Even if a child gets postponed in their speaking, it's just because they are recording and they are maybe a bit confused with all these languages that are being thrown at them, but they are registering everything, and when they do speak, they will be able to speak no problem. And it's worth waiting, because when it happens, it's like magic. um, and I think the challenge, I think, is if you are in a bilingual household where the father and the mother speak two languages, the big challenge, and it's a lot of work, is to keep those two languages divided, separated, so the mother can speak only one language to the child and the father only speaks the other language to the child. That's a very hard job that I was not able to do at my own household, because we were the kids were at school all day. We were both working full time, and we had to put the kids in after school programs. So by the time we got home, it was already 6, 7 p.m. And then we had to deal with homework and doctor's visits and play dates and all the other stuff you have to do, and cooking and cleaning. And there was really no time or no energy to keep
Hmm.
the languages separated. We still made an effort, and our kids are multilingual, but it was hard for us. I can understand that it can be
Hmm.
hard, but I think it's much easier if one of the parents is staying home and
Hmm.
can spend more time with the kids. But if
Okay.
you live in a in a society like ours, it's very hard.
Okay. And what are the benefits of multilingual education in practical life or professional life after studies?
I think knowing other languages opens so many doors in your life. Um, it opens not only doors in the business world, but also doors in your brain to different cultures. You become a more well-rounded person. You know more about different cultures. You're more adaptable to different situations as a result.
Hmm, very nice. And how many languages you can speak or understand?
So I speak fluently and teach Arabic, English, French, and Spanish, and I I can understand a conversation in Russian. I can hold a little conversation. I've forgotten a lot. I mean, the last time I studied Russian was maybe 25 years ago. That's a long time. Um, Chinese, I just like the fact that I discovered Chinese. I was able to make, during my lessons, I was able to make a whole presentation about myself, audio and written with pinyin. I was getting familiar with the writing system with Duolingo, and I really would like to continue doing that, but I really
Hmm.
don't have much time,
Very nice.
unfortunately.
And what if anybody wants to learn the language? What are the best ways to learn any language, and how many months it takes to understand the language?
Okay, so I'll start with the last question. Um, it's very hard. It's impossible, basically, to tell someone this is how many hours you will need, or how many years, or days, or months to learn a language, because it depends on so many factors. It depends on the reason why you are learning. It depends on whether you learned other languages before. It depends on how much time you're ready to devote to learning this language. It depends on whether you are in the language where the country, in the country where the language is spoken. It depends on so many things. It also depends on your attitude towards this language. I found that when people really didn't like the language, or had some kind um, of preconceived idea about the culture of that language, it was much harder for them to learn. When you like the language and you accept it and you like the culture, it makes it much easier. So that question I can never answer. And then you asked about the best ways to learn a language. I think it's important to immerse yourself in the language as much as possible. Listen as much as you can, read as much as you can, um, and then speak as much as
With
you
the
can
people, with the peoples of the
with native speakers or people who speak very well. I think there are many applications, but I really like Clubhouse, although lately it has changed a bit and it's hard to find live rooms. If you just go and sometimes I really enjoy it because you can just go in and anytime you want and look through and find some live rooms, and that has changed lately. They have less live rooms, and it's really annoying because I don't have the time to go schedule to go to see a room, unfortunately. And I think that's the case with many other people. But it's a great place to not only attend lessons, free language lessons, but also find a topic that you like and go and listen and raise your hand and go talk, ask questions and participate in rooms with native speakers. And it's an amazing opportunity.
very nice. And let's move into the next question about the online teaching. And uh, the question is, uh, how has the transition been from traditional classroom teaching to
Mhm.
teaching languages online? What are the some advantages and disadvantages you encountered in online teaching space?
Okay, so this is a, I like this question because it makes me happy. It makes me smile when you say it. And that's because while I was working at the UN, I taught classes, groups of people in different parts of the world, different UN stations around the world, in Africa, Asia, and so on, Europe. And after COVID, when COVID came, after I retired, I started giving private lessons, just one on one. And I would go to the city and sit in the UN garden or sit somewhere in the UN in a nice sofa and teach my students. I liked that a lot. However, when COVID came along and I didn't have to commute to the city and I could do this from my computer, share screen, discuss, it's as if we were together, really. So I really thank COVID for this because now I don't have to go to the city. I can teach from my house, from my desk. It's
Yeah.
so much easier, and students are happy too because they don't have to go anywhere. You know.
Very nice. The next question is about the global learning. Teaching at the United Nations League program must have exposed you to diverse group of learners. How did this global environment impact your teaching methods, and what did you learn from your students?
Mhm. So I've always believed that there's no perfect method, that depending on the student, you need to um, divert to different methods or use different methods at the same time. Um, and I think that teaching people from different backgrounds, of different ages, with different language backgrounds, has strengthened that idea in my mind. I think also that it's very important to take the students' culture into account and incorporate it in the syllabus so that they can feel that they are learning at ease. It makes it more fun and more interesting for them as well.
Very nice. The next question about the language learning resources and in your online platforms, books, blogs, podcast, YouTube channel, you share information about languages. What resources or tools do you recommend for language learners, especially those interested in Arabic, French, English, or Spanish?
There are so many out there, and I don't know 1/10 of them. There are so many, but for the one that I'm most familiar with is Arabic, and the book that is most used in English speaking countries, especially in the United States, I would say maybe 70 to 80% of universities. I may be wrong, but that's the feeling I have from what I know. That teach Arabic use a book called الكتاب في تعلم العربية لغير الناطقين بها, and it's by Georgetown University. Not because it's my university, it just happened that way. It's actually, and we used it at the UN for a long time, and it's still being used. And I found it very appropriate, especially in the UN context, because not only does it teach standard Arabic, but it also exposes the students to the Egyptian dialect and the Levantine dialect, which are the most commonly spoken dialects in the Arab world. They are working on Maghribi and Khaliji dialects, which are more Maghribi, which is the western part of the Arab world, and the Gulf countries dialect. When they have that, then it will be really amazing. But I really like that method. It's very well
Okay.
done.
Uh, can I show your book that you send me in the chat to our
Oh,
audience?
sure, of
Okay.
course, of course,
Give me some minutes so I can show it
sure,
in this.
sure. My books are available on Amazon, and I write books in different languages to help people um,
Okay.
who want to learn different languages or teach their kids different languages. Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. I think there is like a PDF is saying that PDF will show, so that's why I think there is a problem for that.
Okay. No problem.
Okay, let's move into the next question. And the question, give me, um, sorry for delay.
No problem.
There's little bit some. Okay. Next is retirement and travel, and in the question is since your retirement, how have you been spending your time, and how has your love for travel influenced your post-retirement activities?
That's a very good question. As you probably know by now, I've been very busy publishing books, working on my YouTube channel, working on my podcast. Um, However, this type of work is amazing because you can work from anywhere in the world because it's all online. I self-published, so I publish a book anywhere in the world because I do it from my computer. Um,
How many books
I think 22.
very nice.
Yeah, yeah. So some of them are coloring books in different languages, and some are workbooks, and some are just notebooks with some guidance to write. Yes, they're all different.
Okay, and let's move into the next question, which is the in teaching languages, cultural understanding is often crucial. How do you incorporate cultural aspect into your language teaching, and why is it important?
I think there has to be a give and take. So I think the first part is to take from your students to find out about their culture, give them a chance to express something about their culture, and then also give by incorporating articles, videos, audios related to that culture um, in the language you're teaching. I think
Okay,
that's a good
this
way
is
to do
the
that.
book,
Yeah,
and
this
can
is
you?
one of my books. Yeah, I can tell you about this book. Actually, when I retired, one of my students, whose grandfather, whose father came from Iraq when he was 18 years old, um, asked me to give her private lessons. So I would go to her house and teach her. And I met her three sons, and her youngest son, the one in the picture, wanted to learn Arabic. So I started teaching him from school. He didn't know any Arabic, and then when he started to learn to know how to read and write, I sat with him and I asked him questions about his hobbies, his school, his friends, his family, his trips. So I compiled 20 topics and I made 20 paragraphs in Arabic. And from that, that was my corpus for the book. And I made the exercises to go with those paragraphs. I also provide in the book the paragraphs with all the vowels, all the declensions and all the vowels, because that's in Arabic when you're learning Arabic. It's very important to have when you're learning. And so it's a workbook for someone who is teaching their kids Arabic. It's a great book for like a Sunday school or a Friday school. If your kids are busy doing all kinds of work during the week and you're living abroad, this is basically the book I would have liked to have when my kids were little. And I recorded all the audio on my podcast. So you have the audio, you have the text, and if every weekend you sit with your child, you listen to the audio, you do the exercises, you ask and answer questions, you are teaching your child in
Hmm.
a well-rounded way. And in this picture, this is actually uh, when um, when he was able to read and speak. My student took him to his grandfather's house, and he was like reading on his phone, reading Arabic to him, and the grandfather was so happy. So I took this picture because it shows how happy they both are. The grandfather is so proud
Hmm.
that his daughter
And
and
how many
his
pages in this book?
sorry.
How many
Oh,
pages?
I don't remember, but you can check on Amazon. It's available
Okay,
on Amazon.
okay, okay.
Uh, the grandfather was so happy, and I thought this was a great picture for the book.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so the book, it's about this child. He's talking about himself, but I give a chance to whoever is reading this book or learning with this book to write about themselves in the same
And
vein.
and and you designed this, or somebody else designed the cover?
I
The
designed the cover.
okay,
I
very
design all my covers. I am not an artist. I cannot draw, but I love doing this because it's I am doing some artistic work
yeah.
electronically without using my hands because I really don't know how. I'm very bad at drawing. I tried, it doesn't work.
Okay, okay, no problem. Okay, we are on the we are discussing cultural awareness, and uh, so the question which I am asked is, uh, okay. So this is the question.
Oh, we already
Understanding how
answered
do
this
you?
one. I think we already answered this one. It just didn't pop up.
Okay, let's move. Okay, into the next question. And what advices do you have for individuals who are passionate about learning multiple languages, especially considering your extensive experience as language educator?
I think there are so many languages out there. I think you need to really want to learn a language. You have to have a good reason to learn it. Don't take it lightly. Learning a language requires a lot of dedication and a lot of work. It's not just watching YouTube videos here and there. You have to organize your learning. And you have to do some work every day. Try to read, write, listen, speak every day if you can. Even if it's 5 minutes a day, it's better than doing 3 hours once a week. I think it's important to do something every day and be consistent with that.
Okay, very nice. And the last question about the future plans, and what are your future plans in the realm of language education and sharing information about languages? Any upcoming project or goal you had like to discuss?
I actually have three main projects which I have been working on, and I will. My project is to continue working on them, publishing more books. I had promised myself in 21 to publish one book every month, and I did that for over a year, and I have stopped because it just became too much. I became too busy. I'm always thinking of a new thing. Like in my podcast, I created a series called 1000 Arabic and English Verbs, where I create a video with um, a group of verbs about one topic, and then I create a story with that vocabulary to put it in context so people can learn. So I started with that project. I did a few of those, but then I started another one, Arabic in context and English in context, where I tell little stories. And I have another project which is inspiring tiny inspiring stories in Arabic and English, which are really short stories translated into English. And I need to publish that book because I have 36 stories. I'm working on four more to have 40. So it would be 40 tiny English and Arabic stories. I already have the audio on the podcast. I'm working on putting all the videos on the part so people can read at the
Okay, if
same time.
anybody wants to learn a language or your content, how anybody can contact you or your books or
Uh,
videos,
well,
podcast?
yes, you can. I don't know if we could put on my webpage in the chat. We could do that
Okay,
if you
yes,
want.
I
My
can say.
webpage, yeah, my son created my webpage. How do you like my webpage?
Website, you can saying about website.
My
This is
webpage.
I think your website. I will post it to the link
Yes,
here.
everything is there. My podcasts, my
Mm,
YouTube channel. Oh, I
okay,
have
this
another
is
project. I've been creating products with different languages on them on
mhm.
Redbubble. Are you familiar with Redbubble?
Yeah, I am familiar. This like a digital product, uh,
Yes.
like stuff. Yeah, yeah,
That's another place where you can feel like an artist, because you're
yeah,
creating.
yeah. Basically, I'm a designer. I learned this skill, and now I'm trying to get clients, like freelance clients, and also doing like these digital products, Redbubble
Yeah,
like stuff. So yeah.
yeah,
And
it's a lot
this
of
is
fun.
the link of the website. If anybody wants to know his works, you can go at the website and you can view him, her Facebook profile and YouTube and Clubhouse and all of the works
Yes,
and even
and
books.
my language school is there too. So if you need a language teacher, you can go to the big green button.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for your joining the podcast. And lastly, I will ask, how was this podcast, and any suggestions or how it is goes. So
I
remarks, any
think
remarks.
I think this is great. I love this format. I like that you have the questions popping on the screen. It's very clear, and yeah, I wish you the best of luck. And I'm very happy to have participated in your podcast. Thank you so much for having me, Walid.
Welcome, welcome. Okay, take care. Allah Hafiz. Thank you.